Richard Claxton Gregory was born on October 12, 1932 and died on August 19, 2017. He was an American civil rights activist, social critic, writer, entrepreneur, comedian, conspiracy theorist, and occasional actor. During the turbulent 1960s, Gregory became a pioneer in stand-up comedy for his no-holds-barred sets, in which he mocked bigotry and racism. He primarily performed at segregated clubs to black audiences until 1961, when he became the first black comedian to successfully cross over to white audiences, appearing on television and putting out comedy record albums. Gregory was at the forefront of political activism in the 1960s, protesting the Vietnam War and racial injustice. He was arrested multiple times and went on a hunger strike. He later became a motivational speaker and author, primarily promoting spirituality. Gregory began his career as a comedian while serving in the military in the mid-1950s. He served in the Army for a year and a half at Fort Hood in Texas, Fort Lee in Virginia, and Fort Smith in Arkansas. He was drafted in 1954 while attending Southern Illinois University Carbondale. After being discharged in 1956, he returned to the university but did not receive a degree. With a desire to perform comedy professionally, he moved to Chicago. In 1958, Gregory opened a nightclub called the Apex Club in Illinois. The club failed, landing Gregory in financial hardship. In 1959, Gregory landed a job as Master of Ceremonies at the Roberts Show Club. Gregory performed as a comedian in small, primarily black patronized nightclubs, while working for the United States Postal Service during the daytime. He was one of the first black comedians to gain widespread acclaim performing for white audiences. In an interview with the Huffington Post, Gregory described the history of black comics as limited. Blacks could sing and dance in the white nightclubs but weren't allowed to stand flat-footed and talk to white folks, which is what a comic does. In 1961, while working at the black-owned Roberts Show Bar in Chicago, he was spotted by Hugh Hefner performing the following material before a largely white audience. "Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I understand there are a good many Southerners in the room tonight. I know the South very well. I spent 20 years there one night. Last time I was down south I walked into this restaurant and this white waitress came up to me and said, 'We don't serve colored people here.' I said, 'That's all right. I don't eat colored people. Bring me a whole fried chicken.' Then these three white boys came up to me and said, 'Boy, we're giving you fair warning. Anything you do to that chicken, we're gonna do to you.' So I put down my knife and fork, I picked up that chicken and I kissed it. Then I said, 'Line up, boys.'" Gregory attributed the launch of his career to Hefner, who, based on that performance, hired Gregory to work at the Chicago Playboy Club as a replacement for comedian, Professor Irwin Corey. Gregory's first television appearance was on the late-night show Tonight starring Jack Paar. He soon began appearing nationally and on television. Early in Dick Gregory's career, he was offered an engagement on Tonight starring Jack Paar. Paar's show was known for helping propel entertainers to the next level of their careers. At the time, black comics did perform on the show, but were never asked to stay after their performances to sit on the famous couch and tack with the hosts. Dick Gregory declined the invitation to perform on the show several times until finally Paar called him to find out why he refused to perform on the show. Eventually, in order to have Gregory perform, the producers agreed to allow him to stay after his performance and talk with the host on air. This was a first in the show's history. Dick Gregory's interview on Tonight starring Jack Paar spurred conversations across America. Gregory met his wife Lillian Smith at an African-American club. They married in 1959. They had 11 children, including one son, Richard Jr., who died at 2 months, Michelle, Lynn, Pamela, Polly, Stephanie, a.k.a. Zenobia, Gregory, Christian, Miss Anna, and Johannes. He was criticized for being an absent father. In a 2000 interview with the Boston Globe, Gregory was quoted as saying, "People ask me about being a father and not being there. I say, Jack the Ripper had a father. Hitler had a father. Don't talk to me about family." In August 2017, Gregory died of heart failure at a Washington, D.C. hospital at age 84.